Welcome, I'm Matt at US Frontier Miniatures. With this video, I'd like to show you how to create a log cabin like this one. I call it a settler's log cabin. You know, after young America purchased the Louisiana territory from France in 1805, European settlers flocked to the new frontier. And why not? Trees were readily available, as were the stones for the foundation and for the chimney. This is a miniature representation of what many of these now historic log cabins look like. And I would like to show you how to make one for yourself. Hello, I'm Matt from US Frontier Miniatures. Welcome to my workshop and studio. My purpose with these videos is to help you create quality, historically accurate miniatures. So whether you're a beginner, a miniature hobbyist, a model railroader, a mini war gamer, or just someone who wants to create a unique item that they can display on their mantle or bookcase, you've definitely come to the right place. I craft my miniatures in a 1/4 inch scale. However, the methods and techniques that are presented here can easily be adapted to other scales. No fancy power tools are needed. In fact, if you can handle common hand tools, you won't have any problems. Plus, with the techniques that I have learned over the years, plus some unique and simple methods that I have developed myself, making a quality, historically accurate miniature is within everyone's reach. Let's get started. Welcome back to the build of this Louisiana Territory log cabin. What we will need to make a stone chimney and a stone foundation is a product that is called paper clay. It is an air-dried modeling clay. Roll it, we'll use an acrylic rolling pin, and I like to use this clear, small cutting mat that I put saran wrap around that helps in removing the clay. I also use 2 of these sculpturing tools to cut the clay with. For embossing the clay into stone shapes, I make my own tools by cutting off the ends of old paintbrushes and then squeezing them into various shapes with long-nosed pliers. In fact, I have a complete tutorial on this that is part of my video series on building an 1/4 inch scale historical stone house. It is in part 3 of that 6-part series and runs about 9 minutes, from 3 minutes 55 seconds to 12 minutes 25 seconds on that tape. So I have rolled a piece of paper clay out flat, about 1/8 inch thickness. I'm just checking my measurements so that I can wrap the clay around 3 sides of this chimney. I recommend that you use Elmer's glue all to glue the clay onto the wood. It will make for a strong bond once the clay dries. This clay molds very easily. And you can also use some water on your fingertips to smooth it out. Overall, I'd say you have a good 1.5 hour window, probably 2 hours, before the clay starts to dry on you. I use each embossing tool 2 to 3 times in different parts of the chimney. Plus each time I change the position of the tool from horizontal to vertical, for example. I want to give the effect of many random sizes and shaped stones. I also recommend that you take your time and try to emboss each stone as close to existing ones as possible. In fact, before starting the chimney, you may want to practice on a piece of scrap wood covered with clay. Okay, we're all done now. We'll just check it one more time, see that it fits, and we'll be right up against the side of the house. It looks good. Looks good, certainly. Next, we will do the stone foundation. But to start that, we will first glue on the first level of logs. If you recall, we will use the 2 half dovetail logs front and back as our base logs, and then 2 regular logs for the sides of the cabin. Looking at the plans, we'll measure 1/2 inch from the bottom of the cabin, place these 2 front and back logs. Well, we've got the one full side log on, and of course the front and back logs. To do the other side, we're going to have to, of course, glue the chimney on first, and then cut the logs to size. It is important, of course, to make sure that these smaller logs are level as they are glued on. Well, okay, this will certainly pass muster, and we're ready now to go ahead and roll the clay and build the stone foundation. Using the same paper clay that we used on the chimney, I'll go ahead and roll the clay, measure and cut out each rectangular piece that we need for each side of the cabin. Simple process to get used to it. One of the reasons that I prefer this clear cutting mat is that I can use the grids on it to cut a perfect rectangular piece of clay according to the dimensions that I need. So I'll go ahead and cut out and glue on all the sides, since, as I previously had mentioned, we have a 1.5 to 2 hour window before the clay starts to dry. Okay, we're ready to emboss the foundation stones. Before starting the foundation, I've decided to put some clay on each side of the chimney. I am rounding the clay on these sides before embossing the stones on, so that they will have a natural look to them. Well, the chimney is done now, so on to the foundation. In a similar fashion to how we did the chimney, I'll use the same tool 3 or 4 times in various sides of the foundation. And then, after I run through the tools once, I'll go back and pick them up a second time so I keep the order in which I used it. And again, just varying the locations and also whether I'm holding the tool horizontally or vertically. Well, okay, it came out pretty good. We'll let the clay dry overnight, but in the meantime, we'll go ahead and glue on our windows and door frame. For the door frame, I'm using the Tissue Train Group part 2041. And for the windows, I'm going to modify the Tissue Train Group work car windows. They're part 2057. We are going to build our log cabin door, but use the frame itself from this part 2041. Using our plans, I've drawn some guidelines for the door and the window locations. We'll go ahead and glue the door frame on, and then for the windows, we'll wait, as the pioneers did, until a log is placed at the appropriate height as to where we want to locate the windows. In modifying the windows, I'm going to use my utility knife and just cut away the window panes. So we'll have a window similar to the ones they used in log cabins without window panes in those days. For the windows, I use this light diffusing window film to achieve the lighting and reflection effect that I want, in order to make the windows as realistic as possible when you look at the model. This is what I mean. Here is an old Delaware River Valley stone house that I recently built, and I do have a YouTube video out on it, incidentally, in connection with the build. The diffusing film package comes with both the translucent film and the dark film that you saw in my stone house. The translucent film is when you want to light the interior of a miniature model. So I'll go ahead and cut out an oversized strip, really, of the dark film that I want for the 3 windows. Actually cut out a size of film equal to about 1/2 to 5/8 inch, larger than the window itself on all sides. Then, using a product called Scotch Permanent double-sided tape, I glue it over the location where I estimate that the window will be located. I placed the tape, however, around the perimeter of the dark film to assure that it will not be exposed under the actual window and ruin the effect that I want to achieve. Before gluing the modified 3 windows of the door frame on, we will go ahead and paint them. To do this, I mount them on a piece of cardboard first, using Scotch double-sided tape again, but this time the removable kind instead of the permanent one. I've chosen to spray paint them with a Rust-Oleum satin dark brown color. Okay, the windows and door frame have been painted. So first we will glue on the door frame since it sits on the first log in the front. After the door frame, the process moving forward will be to build up one log at a time going around the cabin until we come to the approximate height of each of the 3 windows, which, like the door frame, will sit right on. Before continuing with gluing the logs and windows on, however, this is a good time to paint our chimney and foundation stones and to apply our mortar. For that, we are going to start with a wash of light buttermilk and water to form a base coat for all our stones. We will mix 1 part paint with 12 parts water. Okay, with the wash mix now, we'll go ahead and apply it to the chimney and to the foundation very liberally. Well, this concludes part 2. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up below and also subscribe. That way you will be informed of my new projects. Below, I have added time codes and major section headings so that you can access specific parts of the project more easily. This is a complete craft project from the chimney top right down to the display stand that it sits on. And by necessity, I've divided it into 4 video parts according to the sequence that I actually built it in. So if you're going to build this log cabin for yourself, I certainly recommend that you view the other 3 videos. Don't forget to get a free copy of the house plan drawings below, plus the list of supplies and materials that I used in this project. In case you can't get some of these items locally, I've furnished links for you to obtain them. Lastly, I invite you to visit my Etsy site, where you can see examples of my other creations. See the link below. Good luck with your own build, and if you have any questions that I can help with, please ask them in the comments section below.